Hey, welcome back to the Infamous Podcast. This is Brian.
This is Darryl.
And Darryl, this is episode 463, RandomCast to 2025. If you're new here, a RandomCast is usually what occurs near the end of January because this is the time of the year when news is relatively slow. So we just like to shake it up a bit and just talk about random stuff.
You know what? Sometimes it's good to just go random.
Mm-hmm. We're gonna rant a little bit.
You don't want to go full random,
right?
But you know,
right? Yeah. I'm adding something.
Okay, I should see it pop up.
Anyway, all right. Yeah. So like the random stuff, it's just random stuff we picked to talk about. We're gonna talk some Rippaverse news in Eric July. We're going to talk about some shows we're watching right now. We're going to talk a little Rasslin. We're going to ask the question, is the NFL rigged? Yes. And Anthony Mackie sucks. Plain and simple. So, yeah. Darryl, you ready to hop right in?
Yeah, he's in his I suck era.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely in his I suck era. Everyone's in an era now, right? Because of Taylor Swift. So he's in he's in Anthony Mackie sucks era. All right. Let's hop into it. All right. First off, Eric July. You guys know him. We talk about him all the time. He is the founder of Rippaverse. He is known as Rippa online. What was his actual handle name before? Young Rippa. Yeah.
Young Rippa 59.
That's right. Young Rippa 59. He used to be a contributor with The Blaze. He is he's a pop culture critic, and now he put his money where his mouth
band,
is.
A metal band.
Yeah, he has a metal band. What is it?
Backwards.
How do you say that backwards?
Sword.
Anyway, but you know him mostly from us talking about his company, Rippaverse Comics. We've reviewed several of the books so far. I know Darryl is a little more of a fan than I am. I really like the Isom book. I think that's about it. I've just been waiting for like sales for the other books that have come out that I didn't back.
And again, you know, I love anyone who, you know, puts their money where their mouth is.
Absolutely.
He's you know, again, as a YouTuber, like you said, he's talked comics, he's talked movies and shows, but it was like he started with comics because that's, you know, that was his wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. And he's had a lot for years. He's pointed out the issues. I mean, before a lot of people, you know, were privy to it. And for him to start with his own money, no investors, start with his own money, even if he did have investors. Well, his own.
It's really interesting the way he did it. Like he went out, he made the books, he printed the books, and then he did his own site with pre-orders. And like, I know a lot of people are like, oh, it was crowdfunding because there were like rewards and stuff like that. But it was really just pre-orders that you got incentives to pre-order because he wasn't on some of these other sites. He wasn't like, you know, on Kickstarter or Indiegogo. So,
you know, he was doing everything. There's no distributor. Like all of this stuff he's doing in his own. He bought a warehouse. All of this stuff he was doing by himself, you know, with his team that he put together. But and again, even with that, some of these books have been extremely disappointing because like you said, Isom, I did, especially reading through it a second time. I liked it better the second time. You know, the first two books, reading them back to back. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to that. There's a couple that they're coming out that I'm looking forward to, like the Norfolka. That's the one, even since Isom one, that I've wanted the most. You have a Viking and looks like an African, like, you know, I don't know what he is, but that looks pretty damn cool.
Yeah, that looks cool. You know, Yara was a letdown. The Chuck Dixon book to me was the biggest letdown of them all. But
Yeah.
The reason we're talking about this is he's hired people like Chuck Dixon, who, is best known for Batman and Robin and Nightwing and kind of the Bat family, run of the Bat family through the late 90s into the mid 2000s. And, he hired Joe Bennett from Marvel, who, worked with Marvel artist Bart Sears and the Saska. Is that how you say it? Saska's sister?
The Saska sister.
Yeah.
Sister.
Who did like some Black Widow work for Marvel. So, he's gotten like name people. Obviously he's worked with some great artists and things like that. But for whatever reason, he hired a bunch of people to do some artwork and everything. And then yesterday, was it yesterday? Let me see. What was the date of this? Yesterday. So on January 27th, he went on X and Darryl shared this with me. And, one, I'm a little disappointed. He says, for the sake of respect and professionalism, I will not name the agency involved. He absolutely should name the agency involved. Eric,
so you know why? So
you have to call these people out so they don't go and work with this agency.
And we can say, oh, this person did this. It's just like going to video games with Sweet Baby Inc.
Yeah,
I will not touch a game that has been just completely just dishonored, and I will say that by Sweet Baby Inc. You absolutely have to call these people out. You 100% have to call these people out.
I'll say this. I downloaded the Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League whatever game because it was one of the free games this month.
Yeah, I did too.
And I played through the introduction of the characters. So you go through and you play as each character and like learn their movesets. It's horrible. The gameplay, it's not fun. When you're Deadshot, he's like flipping around everywhere and you can't like hide behind things and like pop up and like snipe people. You have to just be out. It was really dumb. Harley, it was the most like DEI like walkthrough, like with Deadshot and the giant shark. God, I forget his fucking name. King Shark. Thank you. And Captain Boomerang. You had to go through and like kill a bunch of people. You had like actual missions. With Harley, all you had to do is run to where they were. There was one fight with 3 people
when it first came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is okay. So you're telling me I don't ever want to be Harley Quinn. Got it. So, all right. But back to this. So, I'll start over. For the sake of respect and professionalism, I will not name the agency involved. As many of you know, the Rippaverse has a mountain of projects coming down the pipeline for 2025 and beyond. This creates a lot of opportunity for artists. Now, that is something he's really trying to do, is he's trying to pay artists a great living wage to do the thing that they love to do, which is draw, color, and produce comic books, right? So it continues. We recently started communications with a decently known Western comics agency that manages a list of solid talent. Some of this talent is very well known. At first, they were enthusiastic about the opportunity. This especially applied to those looking for work at the moment. We eventually signed about a dozen artists on 15 projects. This includes pencilers, inkers, colorists, and for both covers and sequential art. Some of these projects had already kicked off. This is the part that sucked, right? Today, I received an email from the agency. From the agency head that they are pulling all of their artists from their various projects. Why? Because, and I quote, they have become conscious of some controversies, end quote. I didn't ask what those controversies were, and it's unimportant. There's no sense in trying to work with people who don't want to work with you. Through this delay, though this delays several projects, I wish them well and will not do anything to spite them. See, again, that's a huge mistake. I bring up this as a reminder to you all. We've seen a lot of success. We're still up against it. Though the Rippaverse leaves its politics at the door, the individual politics of people like me, Chuck Dixon, and others will always be held against us. We all know what the acceptable, quote, politics are in the Western comic book industry. Okay, that said, this just isn't a left versus right issue. It's always, we always have people contacting and Yeah, contacting and researching our business to our vendors, partners, and anybody who dares say anything positive about us. Some of those will even claim they're anti-cancel culture. This is why we typically only contract and work with Westerners that are close in proximity. They're either already fans of the Rippaverse or they're professionals that know of and support our vision. We are mentally prepared to handle whatever will be unfortunately thrown out. Let me read that one. They are mentally prepared to handle whatever will be unfortunately thrown out at them. Thrown out. Oh, just there's a typo. That's why. Thrown at them. Yeah. Simply because they work with/for us. Everybody else are Eastern and South American, and they're completely disconnected from a lot of the nonsense and cultural problems that plague Western comics. Despite all of this, I look forward to giving some hungry artists this project. The Rippaverse will continue to grow despite the challenges and hurdles. Let's be great. Other than not calling the agency out, that's a pretty fantastic statement. I worry that, he's like, we're like, when he talks about like, we're winning and things like that, we can only continue to win if we call out the bad actors.
Yes. And this goes for a lot of things and again, not just things like this. It's when people say, oh, this person in Hollywood, and they won't mention the person's name, did this, that, or the other, something heinous, but they won't mention their name. And it's like, so you're allowing this person to still be a predator, allegedly. And it's the same thing with here. You have to call these people out. You have to call out people like Sweet Baby Inc. or Embracer Group when you're talking about video games,
right?
Because they ruin games.
Right.
You have to call out people like this.
They don't just ruin games, Darryl. They ruin lives.
Yeah, they did. And again, you have to call these people out. Mm-hmm. It doesn't have to be for spite's sake or anything. It has to be for, look, we've been talking about this for years, and you want to know what we're dealing with? We're dealing with this company who gave us and don't try to act like you didn't know what's going on.
Right.
Basically, what this company did is they got a couple letters or a couple emails and they caved to the pressure, because people like that, and I would tell them to their face, they're fucking cowards. Mm-hmm. That's all they are.
Yeah.
They can't stand up to anything. They can only, they only go with the wave. If any, and again, I've seen this where a lot of instances where over the years where you'll get they'll get a couple of complaints and then they'll put something on Twitter or X and say, due to the recent being made aware of X, Y, and Z, we've moved off in this direction.
Well, like,
bullshit, you're a coward.
Remember when Elon Musk got some judge was like, oh, he can't have this bonus because a stockholder complained about it. And it turned out that the shareholder only had only owned 6 shares of Tesla. And I mean, that guy almost brought down Tesla because Elon's not going to go in and do what he does. And I'm not the biggest Elon fanboy or anything like that. He wants to put a chip in my head and I'm like, no fucking way.
No, hell no.
But at the end of the day, it's these companies that listen to one person and then it's like, yeah, we're gonna shut this down. And it's like, no, that's not how this works. You don't do that. You get the consensus and all of that. It's just, I don't know. It's infuriating, like you said.
Oh, it absolutely is. And I will emphasize for the third time what you said. You need to out these people.
Yeah.
Because
playing it like this. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. My bad.
Playing it like this and saying, again, I don't mean just in this situation, but in general, because we should know who we shouldn't give our dollars to.
Right.
Because that's the thing. Sometimes it's like I said, I know that if I hear a game involved with Sweet Baby Inc. or Embracer Group, and I know there's other ones, but these specific groups that their number one priority is DEI bullshit that objectively worsens the game. And I'm not going to say subjectively. Objectively, every game that they've been a part of has become worse than the predecessor, especially when it's sequels.
Right.
So I've had Spider-Man 2 for 2 years now, and I still haven't played it because I've heard about it. And I wish I would have heard about this stuff before I bought the game.
Yeah.
But everyone who loved the first one doesn't like the second one. But I will not give my money to a game. Now, if it comes on the PlayStation Network for free, okay, because I'm not paying for it. But I'm not spending money.
You've already paid for it. Like if it comes on for free. No, I mean seriously, like it's like the Crow, the 2024 Crow, right? I'm not going to pay more to watch it, but if it comes on something I paid for streaming, sure, I'll watch it because then I paid pennies to watch it.
Right.
Compared to everything else. So, yeah, I mean, it just sucks. Like it sucks that Eric has to go through this. It sucks that these artists and the other people working on the projects, like, you know, are getting the shaft like this. So, you know.
And even worse, and again, we can assume the people that work for them, and this is sometimes assumptions are a lot of times with this, they're right, but sometimes they're not exactly right. He even says in there that there are people that were working for this agency that were looking for work at the time.
Right.
That were looking for work. So if these people were good enough to say, hey, I'll work with, you know, I don't care about his politics or whatever. The agency they work for just took money out of their hands because of being made aware of controversies. Like,
right.
If an agency did that to me, because of something like that, I'm doing everything I can to get as far away from them as possible.
Right. Yeah, you're 100% right. I would, you know, yeah, I wouldn't want to deal with that at all or be anywhere near it. So.
Right. It just really sucks.
Like yes, very much.
Still have this, and I mentioned, and I'll get off this real quick, but I mentioned that I'm on Reddit for a specific things like finding information about video games. That's pretty much it, and looking at some of the G.I. Joe classified posts. That's all I'm on there for.
Right.
But like with anything, like with X now, you go down, you see all these ads, you see all these Reddit streams or these Reddit, what are they, whatever posts or whatever, whether it be politics, it doesn't matter. The more, I'll every now and then I'll click on one and just read some of the comments. I think we've said it before. There are a lot of people that there's no coming back from, in the sense of, you know, how you say, yeah, you can live with people that, you know, have a difference of opinion. No, I can't live with delusional people. And again, that doesn't mean everyone who doesn't think like us is delusional. You know what the people that are listening to this know what we're talking about.
Right.
The people that will absolutely say, well, this is fascistic, and then, hey, you know what you should do? You need to take the shot because of my health.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Again, I have no problems talking to people with different points of view. A lot of people with different points of view. Actually, I embrace it. But there are a certain sect of people that I want nothing to do with. And people like this, whatever this comic agency is, that's an example of people I want nothing to do with.
Agreed. I agree 100%. So, all right. Are you ready to move on?
Yes.
All right. Let's talk about shows that we're watching right now. Like I kind of brought it up a little bit the last week, but I started watching Suits finally, and I'm kind of obsessed with it. So I will say this: I don't think I've ever seen what Meghan Markle looks like. Right? Like just because I don't pay attention to the royal family, she's hot. Oh my god!
Oh, in Suits, man.
Yeah,
I'll give her that. Yeah,
so,
I mean, she got crazy. She might have been always crazy.
Yeah,
because again, that's one of those things. Watching that show, I didn't care about what people like. And again, she wasn't, because this was her big role. I mean, I know she's probably in stuff before that, but I never saw her in anything before this.
Yeah.
So now we know she's crazy, but you know.
Yeah. I also like the fact that the Spirit is in it, and like he's kind of dressed like the Spirit, just without the hat and the mask.
And his last name is what?
Mark Spector, Harvey Spector. Which is like, I'm like, they did that on purpose. They had to have done that on purpose. And I'm offended that you say I'm like Mike.
Yeah.
Because
like when
I'm just like, yeah, I'm like, that's not me. I don't act like that. I might a little bit, but
yeah.
so, but yeah, no, it's cool. I really like Lewis. Lewis is like a great character. Like he's just so just
Like the
slimy.
Lewis and Harvey back and forth. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of it's funny, but there's some serious. I mean, it is great. Like they're oil and water, and then sometimes they can get. It's great. Like their camaraderie, or not even camaraderie, their rivalry. I should say. Yeah, I should say.
We had just watched the episode where Mike got loaned to him for a trial because Harvey lost a bet, and then Lewis had put left the tape recorder behind and heard Mike say some not so nice things about him, and Mike was like, "Lewis is awesome," like So
yeah,
that was cool. The other thing I'm watching is I'm rewatching Arrow. And just the first 2 seasons of that show are the highest quality of anything the CW's put out. Like, not number 1, don't get me wrong, but it's up there. It's in like the top 5 things.
it was so good. It was such a great start, and I was so excited to see what they did. And again, the first couple seasons of Flash were good, and did you say like Todd Helbing was a part of at least the Flash?
He was.
I don't know if
he
he was part of Arrow.
He left the Flash when, like, I feel like he got sick of like, what do you mean another speedster?
Yeah.
So yeah. You know what I mean? I think Arrow kind of went the same way, right? He was always fighting other archers.
Yes.
So.
And yeah, that's a show that if it would have just been 5 seasons, they would condense stuff. Because again, this was in the days of 22 episode seasons too, or 20 or 22 episode seasons.
The Arrow is like 23, 24. I think one of them's like 26 before it like got cut down. But yeah. So
those shows would have been much better off if they were 12 to 14 episodes.
Oh yeah,
maybe even 15,
or like 8.
But yeah.
I really do think like the perfect amount of episodes in a season is 6.
6 is good. And again, some shows really work. It really just depends on the story and how much you're trying to go through.
Just think about this. Like we've been having this conversation for almost 20 years at this point, right? And my number has gone from like, I'm good with 16 to like, 13 is the perfect number. Now I'm all the way down to like, I'm good with 6.
Yeah. I'm not necessarily good with 6. I think 10 is that magic number.
Yeah.
And again, this is based on the things I've seen over the year, because more shows are going towards that. If you get a Ted Lasso, okay, you can go 12 episodes, whatever. But if you're doing an hour, a 45-minute to 65-minute show, 10 episodes, that's a lot of storytelling.
That's a lot
of storytelling.
So I'll give it, I'll like a half hour if you want to do 12, cool. I don't know. So I don't know. What are you watching these days?
So I'm watching 3 things right now. One is American Primeval. You all who listen to the show, I'm a huge Western fan. I've been a Western fan. It's something I grew up on. The Clint Eastwood movies, like any of those movies back in the day. And then you get to the 90s, 80s. You get the Unforgivens, the Tombstones. I've always been a Western fan.
Yep.
So that's one of the reasons I gravitated towards Yellowstone. And again, out of the Yellowstone series, you have Yellowstone, from what I've watched, Yellowstone 1883 and 1923. 1883 is far and away my favorite because it's a true Western. I know you didn't get through the first 2. I love that show.
Yeah.
And American Primeval reminded me of that show. It reminds you of the harsh brutalities of why they called it the Wild West.
Yeah. Plus, it's got your boy Texas Forever in it.
Yeah, Texas Forever. Taylor Kitsch is in it. So, and again, we're only 3 episodes in, and it's not I haven't fallen for it like 1883, but it's a good, brutal show that I'm really looking forward. Because again, going back to what you just said, it is only a 6-episode limited series. I'm looking forward to what we're getting. Like, right now I have it in that 7 range, which can change depending. Because again, I'm only halfway through, but what I've seen so far, I mean, it's brutal. Yeah. It's definitely brutal. Good acting. There are a couple things that they've done from a standpoint of situations where it's pretty eye rolling. Yeah. But overall, I would, if you're a fan of westerns and you don't mind a little blood and half scalpings and stuff, this is for you.
I mean,
the other show. Well,
you know what I really liked more than anything is when they did that Blood Eagle on Vikings. So Viking, I'm not worried about scalping.
Yeah. The other show is, there's two more shows, I should say. One I just started watching yesterday is with Sterling K. Brown and the original Cyclops, James Marsden.
Interesting.
It's called Paradise.
Cool.
And I'm not going to give anything away because
what's it on?
Episode 1. It is on Hulu.
Okay.
So it's a Hulu show. It comes on weekly. Now, the first 3 episodes are out now, but it comes on weekly. It's about a guy who is, Sterling K. Brown is a Secret Service agent assigned to protect the president. And that's all I'm going to say because you need to see what happens, especially the end of episode 1, because it completely turns everything you thought you knew on its head. Again, I think it's a 10-episode series. They usually are with Hulu. Hulu. Because it ends in, I think the last episode is March 4th. So yeah, it's a 10-episode series. It's very intriguing so far. It has that, I don't know if anybody who's ever watched Designated Survivor, it has that combination of Designated Survivor and Lost, where you have flashbacks, you have some crazy stuff, and you're wondering how the hell did X, Y, and Z happen? So that mystery of, what happened, but you don't, you're going to, as the story evolves, you'll see how it happened. And I'm very interested to see how things happen. And again, right now, this is a solid 7. I mean, in part because Sterling K. Brown, also Sarah Shahi's in it. For Supernatural fans, she was the woman in white in the very first episode. She's been in a bunch. I just looked up her IMDb too, and I just lost track of all the other stuff she's been in. But she's in it. There's a bunch of those people that you see their faces, and you're like, oh, this person, and I don't necessarily know the names of, but. Again, so far a pretty solid show. I'm only 3 episodes, so now I'm all caught up. So I have to wait till next week for episode 4, and that brings me to the other one that I have to wait. I can wait till Friday. Is Dexter: Original Sin?
Oh yeah,
and
I mean I'm watching that one too, but
and I mean you put that on your 2024 list because technically you did start watching it in 2024.
Oh, we watched it the first day, because Paramount Plus is great. They put it out like early in the day, so we were like, oh hey, let's watch this at my lunch break.
I'm a huge fan because again of how I grew up, and you too, you grew up the same way. Shows back then, it was weekly and that's it.
Yeah.
So
I grew up being trained how to be a serial killer by my cop dad too.
I do appreciate having to wait. Even though I am really in, right now I have it as an 8 right now, and if it keeps up as where it is right now, it's absolutely going to be on my shows of 2025 list. Yeah. So those are the 3 I'm watching now. I haven't gotten. Some of the other shows. I had it at
a 7.75 for my honorable mentions.
So I'm really I love that cast.
Oh yeah,
they do such a good job of being the characters that we've seen from the original Dexter, while also not being so like automatons and just copycats, where it's like, okay, you're doing, and that's a fine line. And I applaud everyone involved in this because they've all done a great job mirroring the characters that we've already, the younger versions of the characters we've already seen. So I'm really looking forward to how this story ends, or this season ends. And I don't know if this is supposed to be just that one season, but as much as I like it, and I know Dexter Resurrection is coming this summer.
Yeah.
So I would love to have a second season of this.
Oh yeah, that would be so cool, wouldn't it?
So cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun TV like that's out and that's coming and all that fun stuff. So it's yeah, it'll be one of those things. So anyway, all right. So the next up is Rasslin. I mean, it's Rasslin season. We're on the road to WrestleMania, or as Santino Morello used to say, Wrestlemania.
Oh, Santino.
I'm going to the Royal Rumble this weekend with my boy Derek. And it's gonna be a blast. Hopefully John Cena wins. I never thought I would say that in my life. So, it's one of those things.
That's gonna be awesome.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and then like Raw's been really, really interesting. AEW when I went 2 weeks ago was awesome. SmackDown's been good. All the TNA stuff, WWE merging, or not merging, but like making a partnership with TNA. Jordan Grace signed with WWE.
I saw that.
That's
yeah.
like cool as shit, man. That. So
yeah. And the awesomeness that is CM Punk. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, CM Phil Moveset, Mr. Moveset. Is that what what that God. Skunk's name is? Anyway, but yeah, no, it's just really exciting. Like, so AEW, like Warner Brothers, talked about like their numbers a little bit, saying that it's like one of the top sports programs that's been streaming. The only shitty part is that you have to wait a week if you don't watch it live, which I think kind of sucks. And then, but like their TV viewing numbers haven't gone down at all. So they're actually getting more people watching the show now. WWE, on the other hand, Raw is only on Netflix now. And it's getting about the same numbers as Raw did on USA. So, I mean, that's good that they're not losing numbers. I mean, they had like a monster like number where, it's like the best numbers in like 4 or 5 years. The first episode, which I think was kind of a letdown, the first episode, because it was a glorified house show. So,
right.
It's just one of those things that we're gonna find out if if all this is what we think it is, and continues to be fun like we like it.
I mean, I really like the idea of it on Netflix, but so far, nothing has really changed.
Yeah,
they're doing things differently in the sense of how they, and again, they started this. I think I don't know if they started this before Netflix or not, where the announcers kind of get away from their announcing, from their table and then start, kind of introducing this is Raw, because they do it in SmackDown too. But I'm looking forward to this WrestleMania season. AEW, it's really frustrating that you can't watch, because I think I brought that up to you last week or the week before, where I started watching Dynamite and then I had to turn it off, or watch something else, or go to bed or whatever it was, and then I tried to watch it the next morning, like when I first woke up, and it wasn't there, and I'm like, what's going on? And you just told me that's a little frustrating. I really want to get back into the. And did you mention? No, I don't think you meant. But I don't know enough about it to speak very solidly about it. But I did see, or was it a video? I think it was a video from Wrestle Talk the other day, where they were talking about that in the near future, AEW pay-per-views will be available on Amazon.
Yeah, which is kind of cool to think about. I mean, you'll have to pay for them, but like, they're going to cost extra. They're going to cost extra. But yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah. So I mean, just because the whole thing with the Bleacher app and everything, which again, it was fine, but I can't get that on my PS5.
Yeah,
I
the
can't get
Bleacher
that on my
Report
PS4.
app was horrible. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's cool. It makes it more accessible to people, which is the goal.
And that's going to definitely help them. Again, we've talked about this for a while now. Again, I love AEW's in-ring wrestling, but their storytelling is not great, and they could do a better job by having someone who knows what they're doing
Right.
in that role.
Yeah.
Because Tony Khan, as much as he loves wrestling, he doesn't know what he's doing when he's trying to develop stories.
I don't know. I feel like they were talking about how he's actually been a little more hands-on lately. And things have been really good for the past few weeks. So,
well, I know I know some of the stuff I've watched, and again, see that's something I might not have known is because I know some of the stuff I've watched lately. I've liked what I've seen, not just in the ring, but just some of the storytelling they were doing.
Yeah, like an example was he wanted the Young Bucks to lose to the Outriders, which are great. They're the most Turbo whatever and Nitro. I forget their actual names, but they're the most 80s tag team that's been around for a while. They've got the neon, they've got the hair and the glasses and stuff like that, like the wraparound sunglasses, and they're fun to watch and they're good wrestlers. But he got talked into putting the belts on Private Party, and Private Party hadn't been on TV for years because the one guy was not Isaiah, the other guy had been injured for so long, and they didn't really build this up. And one of the interesting things is when 3 years ago they lost to the Young Bucks because they weren't ready, and then it was they were trying to do the whole we're going to finish the story kind of thing, and it turned out to be they still weren't ready, and then their run was just uninspiring. It was transitional. I feel just waiting for the Hurt Syndicate to show up and be at a place where it's we're going to throw the belts on these guys right now. Which, by the way, they should also throw the trio belts on the Hurt Syndicate so we can watch MVP wrestle more because he's still got it.
Yeah. Also, speaking of MVP speaking of trios belts, so Malachi Black his contract is up with AEW. He's going to SmackDown.
Yeah. Well, allegedly. That's not for sure.
Well, Selena Vega,
his wife is
going to SmackDown. So she's going to SmackDown.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. I
didn't even realize his contract was up and everything.
I think I don't think it was supposed to be up. I think they just I think he had an extension that nobody wanted to do. Here's my problem. When he was Tommy End on the Indies, he was great and I loved him. When he was Aleister Black in NXT, he was great and I loved him. When he got up to the main roster, they fumbled him, which is why he asked for his release from WWE and left. And when they released him, it was really funny. They hadn't updated his contract to be a main roster, so instead of a 90-day, he only had a 30-day non-compete. Uh-oh. But then when he got to AEW, he didn't want to put AEW guys over. He only wanted to lose to people who had been in WWE before.
It's
no, dude. You're awesome. You put people over in defeat all the time. You can do that, and
And I know some of it has to do with injuries, but they had the House of Black they did what the WWE still doesn't do to their heel factions.
Yeah.
The House of Black would beat people outright.
Yeah.
They didn't always have to cheat. And that's one of the things where I understand the psychology, but last night, you did not need Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre didn't need the ropes to pin Sami Zayn. No. Although what happened afterwards was pretty freaking hilarious. Yeah. I mean, that was great. But anyway, yeah, I'll be interested to see. I'll be looking forward to see what they actually do with him this time because I love his skill set.
Yeah,
Malachi Black.
His moveset's awesome.
His moveset, yeah.
So, but yeah, so I mean, like it's an interesting time for wrestling. Oh, and Roman is going to be on the cover of WWE 2K25, which is pretty cool. The picture is awesome because he got signed by Jumpman. I don't know if you knew that or not.
I did not.
So like the Jordan brand.
Right. Yeah.
And so like he's got like his gloves have the Jumpman on them, and I think he has like custom like in-ring shoes from Nike. So
that makes sense. Okay.
They're pretty cool looking. So and so you have all these guys like wrestling in Air Force Ones now. And then you got Roman wearing Jordans. I just think it's funny, and it's kind of ironic, especially because people were kind of like so over Roman for a long time, and then all of a sudden it was like, yeah, now like acknowledge him. Which is funny. When I do overhead press, like dumbbells, like on my right hand, I keep my finger up, like so I'm just practicing to acknowledge him when I go. Yeah, good times. All right. All right. Is the NFL rigged, Darryl?
After watching this past weekend, it's hard as hell to say no. I don't think it is. But again, two things can be true. And this is what I say to people when we're talking about, and again, this is revolving specifically around the Kansas City Chiefs. I will start off by saying officiating is horrible all the way through, straight through. It's horrible. I watch, there's a lot of games I watch where I don't have a dog in the hunt. I don't dislike this team or that team. I just want to watch a game. Same thing with college. And the amount of missed bumbled calls in instant replay is egregious. It's bad. I've mentioned this a couple times. I have not seen in the last couple years, I've seen more of those official correspondents that are in the booth that they ask about the calls go against what is called on the field or in the replay booth than I ever have in the last year. And this has got ticked up in the last year and a half, and it's because officiating has gotten worse. If anybody who watches football, and again, we're going to focus on football here.
Yeah.
If you watch football, you know
the NFL is rigged. That's
and this is where I'm going with this. So one, officiating is bad. It's bad. And anybody who says, well, it's a hard job, well, there's a lot of jobs that are hard, and you're getting paid good money. You're supposed to do them right. So I don't want to hear that it's a tough job. Yes, it's a tough job. You're getting paid a lot of money to do a good amount of money to do that tough job. Now, yes, officiating is bad. And then you have the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
I have never seen a team get more of the controversial calls because let's get it out the way here. Kansas City Chiefs have three of the best players at their positions. Well, not all, of all time, because I'm sorry, Travis Kelce is not one of the best players now in his position. He's just not.
Right.
But Pat Mahomes, all time, it's one of the top quarterbacks. Travis Kelce, as much as I don't like him, one of the top tight ends, and Chris Jones, one of the best defensive linemen.
Right.
You have one of the best offensive geniuses in Andy Reid. You have one of the best defensive coordinators right now in Steve Spagnuolo.
Right.
I think he's the only coordinator with he has 4 Super Bowls. One with the Giants. He won one with the Giants.
Yep.
He's won 3 with the Chiefs.
Yep.
So with all of that,
well,
the Chiefs are great.
Is he won 3 with the Chiefs?
Or won 2 with. I know he's won with the Giants and the Chiefs. So he might not have won 3. He might have won just the last 2. So that is not taking anything away from them. But if you're trying to be objective, and if you look at the history of their games in the last several years, the fact that they might have gotten a holding call this week, but they had gone they had no holding calls against their offensive line. They have a tackle that literally jumps off, that literally false starts 15 times a game. And I'm not exaggerating when I say 15 times a game. It is egregious. And then you have calls where you touch Pat Mahomes, the 2 calls last week. So even though I don't think it's not rigged, At the same time, there is absolute favoritism where it looks like it's rigged. And that's a fine line between saying the calls are going the Chiefs' way. Because look, Tony Gwynn, if there's a ball that's 50-50 on the outside corner, Tony Gwynn, and he doesn't swing at it, they're not going to call it a strike, because they're like, well, if it was a strike, Tony Gwynn would have swung at it.
Right.
Yes, that's favoritism. However, when you talk about a guy, that's 50-50. There's nobody in the world, if you're going to be honest, who saw that Josh Allen play and didn't think he got the first down.
Yeah.
Because the official that saw the ball originally marked it as a first down. Right. And then he gets over. I don't understand how, and again, it's not just this play. I don't understand how an official that has the better view is overruled by an official that can't see shit because everybody's in the way.
Right.
And this has happened in other games, so it's not just the Chiefs. But so this goes back to the first point in officiating being bad. But you have calls in this game where there were at least 3 holding/blocking the back calls on their 40-yard punt return, where I was calling them out as it was going. I was like, oh, that's a hold, that's a block in the back. Not one call. So, and Chiefs fans, if you can't look at this and say, you know what, our team is great, but we do get calls that we shouldn't get. I will call. I'm the one that if Michigan gets a good call, okay, I'd rather get that call than get screwed, but they should not have gotten that call.
Right.
I say that all the time when I'm watching a game.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's unbelievable. And the fact that you now have announcers calling it out, and like
Troy Aikman of all people.
Troy Aikman. Like, you'll know it's gotten to the point where it's really, really bad is if Chris Collinsworth takes Pat Mahomes' dick out of his mouth long enough to complain.
The fact that I heard Troy Aikman last week say, come on. Like, he was like legit pissed. Like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. As a guy who definitely benefited from getting calls. So they've shown, there's a lot of people who are like, oh, well, Brady this, Brady that. And they showed some hits that they laid out on Brady that got no call. Like, he constantly had his helmet getting knocked off. He was getting hit so hard.
There's a compilation of multiple compilation videos of just guys just teeing off on Brady. If any one of those hits would have been Pat Mahomes, the guy would have been executed on right on the field.
They would have put the little the tent up in the middle of the field, like when they do with a horse. Or
they would have been like the one guy from Parks and Rec.
Oh yeah,
right to jail.
Straight to jail. Straight to the electric chair.
Yeah, I don't want to hear that about the Brady comparison.
Yeah,
like at all, because you don't know what you're talking about.
Well, and now they're like, oh, Mahomes is the GOAT. It's like, he's not. He didn't. Brady never had like a really bad season. Mahomes has had 2 bad seasons in a row, and he's got something like more than 50 interceptions in the last 3 years called back.
Right. Again, I saw that. I haven't been able to confirm or deny that.
Yeah.
But again, if you're being objective and you look at what happens in these games, and I don't mean a call here and there, I mean it's consistent. The fact that they've been, like, in the last 3 playoff seasons, I think it's 3 or 2, 6 roughing the passers of the opponents, 0 for the Chiefs.
Right. Oh yeah.
4 or 5 personal fouls for the other teams, 1 for the Chiefs. They went like 8 straight games, playoff games, without a hold against their offensive line, which that statistically is impossible.
Yeah.
Impossible. Impossible. So please, I don't know what to say other than the officiating in general, and more specifically the officiating as to how the Chiefs games get called. And again, I don't care about the regular season. I'm talking specifically about the playoffs, because I don't watch enough Chiefs games in the regular season to know, except when the Bengals have gotten screwed twice in 2 seasons in a row against them. when they had the games won.
Yeah.
But postseason, this officiating really needs to be looked at because the NFL, you're losing credibility.
Oh no, their credibility's gone, man. It's completely gone.
Well, I mean, that's kind of true.
All right, let's take this last few minutes here that we have to podcast and talk about how bad Anthony Mackie sucks.
Okay, so fun, and I mentioned this. I'll start off with a few years ago. It was actually more than a few years ago. Probably like 9-10 years ago. Yeah, it's probably like 10 years ago. I'm thinking about their Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
When I heard Anthony Mackie talk about stuff, it was a breath of fresh air because he actually multiple occasions called out the way Hollywood thinks and Hollywood approaches stuff. I don't know who that guy was because this guy is nothing like that guy. This guy is a Hollywood shill. He comes across as a Hollywood shill, and it's been happening the last couple years. So I don't know what's happened from that time, 2013 to 2014, where he seemed like a based individual, where it's like, man, he's calling out Hollywood and how they handle things, to now basically, whistling up this, those America's bad, or Captain America. You don't need Captain America stands for many things, just not America's not one of them.
Right.
I don't know, Brian, what happened to him. Well, I do know. It's Hollywood.
Yeah.
Everyone's gay once in a while in Hollywood. In his case, everyone's retarded once in a while in Hollywood.
Well, you know my stance, and this goes for people we like too. They're husks. They're people who spend their entire lives being directed where to stand, what to say, how to act, how to emote, what to do, where to go, what to wear. There's nothing about these people. Nothing is real. It's like Selena Gomez crying about her people. Bitch, you're American. Like you have $1 billion. You live in a palace. Like they are. They're so stupid. And the thing is I feel like most of them are being told what to say still, and they're too dumb to know not to go out and say it.
And that, I think, is spot on. Still being told what to say. And you don't have a lot of people with, and again, this is the thing with a lot of these actors. And again, I'm not giving them. Wow, that was a deep throat right there. I'm not defending them,
right,
at all, because you ultimately. No, I'm serious.
I'm kidding. I'm messing with you.
You're ultimately, no matter what, you're ultimately responsible for the words that come out of your mouth. To paraphrase 300.
Mm-hmm.
So, I understand. I get. I'm not going to say I understand. I get when people, or younger Hollywood stars, or up and coming, they're like, I want to break in this business. And so I'm going to toe the line. I'm not going to say anything, or my publicist suggests me say this and that. Okay, I can get it. Anthony Mackie's not that guy.
Right.
Anthony Mackie's solid enough. And he's not the only. There are plenty of examples where these people are solid enough and they're still spewing the Kool-Aid, message. Because again, we've heard about, people that are more conservative in Hollywood, and saying there's a lot more people in Hollywood that are more conservative, but they're afraid. And that's where I say I get it, but there's a point you have to stand up for what you believe in.
Right.
And what you believe in should be stronger than your need to, play a character on the TV show.
And here's the thing, dude, if you hate what Captain America stands for, don't play him. Say no.
Yeah. And this is when I heard that, I don't know if he misspoke. I'm not going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like I told you before we started, if he would have said Captain America means many things,
right,
and it's just not beholden, or it's just not focused on America, or something along those lines, I would have gotten what he was saying. He's trying to say it's not just America, but he's all these other things, even though he completely misunderstands the fundamental nature of what Captain America means.
He followed it up.
Yes, and this is where
he said, "Let me be clear about this. I'm a proud American, and taking on the shield of a hero like Cap is an honor of a lifetime. I have the utmost respect for those who serve and have served our country. Cap has universal characteristics that people all over the world can relate to." False. Absolutely false. You know why, dipshit? America is the exception, not the rule to the rest of the fucking world.
And he also, and I don't know if you saw this, but it was, I think it was a part of, it was an extended version of what he said. I didn't hear it, but I read it, for this interview, where he said that he thinks a black Cap is just as important to see for white kids as there is black kids.
Yeah, and then he talked about his favorite hero was green.
So basically what you're saying, it doesn't matter. It doesn't effing matter what the color of the character is. It's about who the character is.
Yeah. I mean, your favorite hero growing up was Hitler.
Was it? Oh.
That's horrible.
I'm trying to think
That's so bad.
I'm trying to think of who my favorite, to be fair, I'm trying to think of who my favorite character was growing up. I mean,
I will tell you exactly who it wasn't. It wasn't Iron Man, because nobody's favorite character was Iron Man before 2008. Hands down.
No. Oh, we've talked about that a lot. No, absolutely not. Again, I had Iron Man books, but he wasn't one of my favorite characters.
Had a few Iron Man books because you'd have to buy them for the very few events that they used to do. But yeah.
What do you mean? Not every weekly events like they have now? Or
it's like, but it's like, this character is a part of this, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this event. So anyway,
it's
well, I mean, you've always talked about Thor. You've always talked about Captain America. Mm-hmm. You talked about Black Panther. You have talked about
and for the Native American
Superman
folks,
and that stuff, and yeah,
not just Apache Chief, by the way, but it wasn't a comic, but Brave Star.
Brave Star was awesome.
One of my favorite cartoons.
I mean, you love the Copper Kid. He was blue.
Don't forget Static Shock. No.
Dude, I'm gonna punch you next time I see you. Right in the arm. Probably break my hand. I mean, Static is one of my favorite characters of all time. Do I have anything in comic with Static? No, like nothing at all. But what I liked was his story about how he was trying to do the right thing and he felt responsible for something that he was not responsible for. Very much in the vein of Peter Parker, but from a different perspective. And it was cool as shit. And,
it's going to something I'm about to say with something you don't like, even though you technically do, but or technically you don't, but by the spirit you do. That's why I love animes. It's not because the character. It's not because the character looks like me or anything.
Do not put that on me. I do not like anime.
I'm trying to. I said technically you don't, but in spirit you do.
I don't in spirit at all. I like anime.
Avatar is spiritually an anime.
Oh my god! Have you been talking to Haley?
It is. You're talking to someone who watches anime. There's a lot.
She's trying to pull that stuff with me too. She left the Blu-ray, the Black Butler or whatever anime. Is that what it's called? Yeah. She left the DVDs here, and I think she did it to be like, I think he might watch it. She's so wrong. She doesn't.
I will say
she has no idea how stubborn I really am.
Yeah. Oh, I will say I've never watched that. So, but what I like is these characters.
Yeah.
No matter the odds, they keep coming back. You know what? They don't sit and cry. They say, I need to get stronger. I need to get stronger to save people. And that's what heroes are. That's what these heroes like Captain America and Superman.
Heroes get people killed.
Yeah, truth, justice, and the American way, which I was so disappointed when they said it.
I was so disappointed. It almost made me rage quit the show.
Rage quit the last 20 minutes.
Oh no, no, because they did it in a previous episode too. I almost rage quit. I was almost like, you know what? I don't care
they
about
did do it.
I don't care about the last 4 episodes of the show. I'm not watching it anymore.
So yeah, that was disappointing. But
yeah,
it's this whole identity politics that has absolutely poisoned the waters. It's one of the most poisoned. And again, when people say, DEI or diversity are going after, no, diversity is a great thing.
Absolutely.
Diversity that comes with, and again, it's not just diversity of color, diversity of sex, diversity of, your belief. It's it's diversity of thought as well. And that's what people sometimes don't want.
Right.
Or especially these DEI people. DEI is one of the worst things in the history of this country and in the world. It's different from diversity because it's that little E in there that says equity, which means that everybody should get the same thing. No, diversity is giving people opportunity and then allowing them to show themselves. That's not DEI. DEI is about checking boxes. DEI is about making sure that you have all these minorities of whether they're women, whether they're not Asian. I'm sorry about that because that's not true with that. But diversity is a great thing. Diversity, equity, and inclusion should be fired into the sun, never to be heard from again.
I mean, it's discrimination and it's racism.
It absolutely is.
So it's just, so. All right. Well,
Anthony Mackie sucks.
Yeah, Anthony Mackie definitely sucks.
Let's go back around, get back around to that. Yeah, he sucks.
Yeah, I mean, I commented on his little thing. Should I read my comment?
Yeah, I kept trying to refresh to see if I could see it.
So, no, I did it to his story, directly to him, because it wasn't on his post. Okay. So, yeah, I just wrote, "Nah, you suck." Well, it was his whole thing about the world can relate thing. I said, "Nah, you suck. You messed up with your previous statement that hopefully came from your PR team and not you, but you messed up a movie already in trouble. It would have been better for you, better to say you were wrong, or better yet, nothing at all." So, as the goober of the day, Anthony Mackie, you suck. That should be a new segment we do about who sucks in Hollywood. Can we just say Alyssa Milano every week?
She's still around. I haven't heard anything from her lately.
I mean, I think she's over on Blue Cry doing Blue Cry things.
With Hangman Adam Page.
Hangirl Page sucks too. So. Oh my gosh. Adam Page, Hangman Adam Page, equally sucks to Anthony Mackie.
I'm going to paraphrase what Mason Graham said to Ohio State, to Jack Sawyer after Michigan beat Ohio State. Adam Page, pussy.
Oh, by the way, I did like that video you sent me of the kid to get the picture with Ryan Day. He's like 4-0, baby. So, anyway. All right. Well, on that note, thank you guys for listening. We'll be back next week with a new episode. I'll be talking about the Royal Rumble experience that
that should be good
going on, and maybe we'll talk about some other stuff. Maybe we'll figure out a way to get a guest on or something. Anyway, all right. On that note, Darryl, any last words?
Nope.
All right. Well, we will see you all next week. Later.
See ya.
The Infamous Podcast is recorded in Kings Mills, Ohio, just north of Cincinnati. You can find new episodes every Sunday on Apple Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcast, our website, or anywhere podcasts are downloaded. This show is hosted by Darryl, Jasper, and me, Brian Tudor. To find more information about the show, visit us at infamouspodcast.com and follow us on Facebook and Instagram at Infamous Podcast to keep up with the show. We also have a Patreon page, patreon.com/infamouspodcast. We have some great rewards for our patrons and are looking for help to grow the show to bring you more of the content you want to hear. Music for this podcast is provided by Michael Henry from meetmichaelhenry.com. So, whenever you're listening to us, have a great day, night, evening, weekend, whenever it is, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.